Oh boy, it is absolutely boiling in this room, but I do not give two shits. It's good to be back, guys, and what a time to be a Thomas fan for this, the 80th anniversary of the Blue Bugger. Well, by Blue, I mean Edward. Technically, he was introduced first, but the 80th anniversary of the Railway series, and Mattel have dug deep into their archives and have found a gem. They have released to the public officially the 1983 pilot, which for you guys didn't know was originally Down the Mine instead of Thomas and Gordon, and for our viewing pleasure on YouTube. This is insane. This is the best gift we could have possibly been given. This is the best, like, aside from, like, maybe The Adventure Begins, this is, like, the best anniversary present, I think, that anyone has ever done for the series. Honestly, it's... I can't believe this is happening. I cannot fathom. Like, I always knew of the Down the Mine pilot. I knew of it, like, a few years ago when first people started mentioning it. But now seeing it, knowing I'm about to witness it, just... I'm getting chills, bro. I'm getting chills. Let's not waste any time, shall we? Let's actually get into this. So... Oh boy, also I should mention, this will be uploaded as a separate reaction on my channel, but will also be a part of the Amazing Gamer 111's Tanky's Reacts compilation, which, if you've seen, we did Project Tiger Moth on his channel, so it's good to be back doing that series again, and yeah, hopefully you guys are as excited as I am. Someone tell the Unlucky Tug, we have Mission Impossibled our way into the Mattel archives, and we have pulled out an utter gem. Drop the video a like if you enjoy, subscribe to the channel too if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into this. Okay, so definitely one thing you're going to notice is new original faces. I will say, after seeing this, I wonder how many Trains users and just model makers are going to try and recreate those faces and those models. Like, I'm expecting a lot of people to make, like, Trains remakes pretty soon, with people recreating those models. Specially created models. Okay, so these were specially made for the pilots. I thought... Well, I'm not sure. Were these, like, adaptations made to them? Are these the models that would go on to be used for the original show, or were these just one-offs for this pilot? That's my first question I have here. Oh god, it's the hand. Okay, so it's a reconstruction. The use of the original font as well. And told by Ringo Starr. Let's do this.
One day, Thomas was at the junction when Gordon shuffled in with some trucks.
That Gordon face. Oh my god, that Gordon face. Hang on, it's got to come up again. Hold on.
Remarked Thomas. What a funny smell.
Yep. Look at the eyebrows. His eyebrows are so minuscule. That's such a great Gordon face. Like, I don't know. It's so animated. Obviously, I love the face backs that we originally got, but seeing that's so animated somehow. That's so Gordon.
Can you smell a smell?
I'm an idiot. I didn't put this full screen. I'm such an idiot. Oh my god.
I can't smell a smell, said Annie. A funny, musty sort of smell, said...
Also, I definitely recognize it's the original audio that Ringo narrated for, so...
Thomas. No one noticed it till you did, grunted Gordon. It must be yours. Annie? Clarabelle?
Hold on, let's just have a look at that Gordon model for a second. First off, crooked buffers, unfortunate, but he's a bit more squarish? How do I describe it? Like, Thomas's model looks more similar to the counterpart they eventually used in the TV series, but Gordon's model looks so different here. It looks almost squashed, like someone sat on him or something from the front.
Grunted Gordon. It must be yours.
Looks really cool, though.
Do you know what I think it is? It's ditch water. Before Gordon could answer, Thomas puffed away.
That guard model needs to start. That guard needs to start eating. Jesus Christ, man. He's skinnier than me.
Annie and Clarabelle could hardly believe their ears. That was funny. That was funny, he chuckled. He felt very pleased with himself. Annie and Clarabelle were deeply shocked. They had great respect for Gordon, the big engine.
Okay.
Thomas
And
left
yet,
the coach.
that's the only shot from. That's the only shot from the original pilot that was used in the actual episode. You can see the model is a bit different here, like with the, I think it's stationary eyes. Like, did they have eye mechanisms in the original props? Like, I know we saw Gordon's move, but...
At the station and went off to a mine for some trucks. Long ago, mines
I'm really noticing
digging for lead had made
I'm really noticing the sound editing this time around. Like, it's definitely, like, overdubbed, and it would have been cool if they could get Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell back, but I don't know. I like the music that they've gone for here. The sound editing as well, just the interlinking of, like, sound effects, like the children laughing there.
Under the ground. Though strong enough to hold up trucks, their roofs could not bear the weight of engines. Silly old board, he thought. He had often tried to pass it and he had never...
That is not one of... The way Ringo delivered that line, that was not the same way it was delivered in the episode. Is that an alternative take or something? Like, what was that?
But this
Wait,
morning...
let's rewind that.
He had often... Silly old board, he thought.
That's definitely a different take. That's you cannot tell me that's not the same take that they used.
He had often tried to pass it and he had never succeeded. But this morning he had made a plan. He had to push the empty trucks into one siding and pull out full ones from another. Come on, waved the fireman. The driver leaned out of the cab to see where they were going. Now, said Thomas to himself. Hurrah, laughed Thomas, and he followed the trucks into the siding.
Yeah, these are definitely original takes from Ringo that they're using.
Stupid old board, said Thomas. There's no danger, there's no danger.
Ooh, that's a nice shot. I like that. With the sinking in. I kind of wish they had that, you know.
Yeah. Look out, shouted his driver. Come back. Fire and smoke, said Thomas. I'm sunk. And he was. Thomas could just see out of the hole, but he couldn't move. Oh dear, he said, I am a silly engine. And a very naughty one, too. I saw you, said the Fat Controller. Please.
What was the Fat Controller doing there? Like, what was he? Was he just inspecting the mine, like, somehow? Like, how did he just come out of nowhere and just go there? I've always...
Get me out. I won't be naughty again.
I like the tear
I'm not
effects.
sure, replied the Fat Controller. We can't lift you out with the crane. The ground's not firm enough. Let me see. I wonder if Gordon could pull you out. Yes, sir, said Thomas nervously, but...
I can't describe how, but it feels more 80s than the original. Like, I can't describe it. It feels really, really 80s. Am I going insane? Like, I don't know what feels so 80s about it, but... Oh my god, this feels... Ugh. Woof. Whoosh.
But he didn't really want to meet Gordon just yet. Down a mine, is he? Ho, 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 laughed Gordon.
Ho, ho, ho. It's just Gordon just turned into Father Christmas.
What a joke, he chortled, puffing to the rescue. Poof, poof, little Thomas. We'll have you out in a couple of puffs.
Oh, nice. Yeah, no, they did have eye mechanisms.
Strong cables were fastened between the two engines. Are you ready?
Also, can we just appreciate
between the two engines?
Can we just appreciate the bags on the driver's eyes? He hasn't slept in like 2 days.
Are you ready? Heave, called the Fat Controller. It was a lot harder than they all thought. But at last he was free.
It was harder than we all thought. Just jolts. That was quick.
I'm sorry I was cheeky, said Thomas. That's all right, Thomas. You made me laugh. I'm in disgrace, Gordon went on pathetically. I feel very low. I'm in disgrace too, said
All right, Eeyore. Bloody hell.
Thomas. Why, so you are, Thomas. We're both in disgrace.
Eeyore pulling the express. I'm the proudest and the strongest engine on the line. Thanks for noticing me.
Shall we form an alliance? And Ali, what was it? Asked Thomas.
I think that was original dialogue in the original book. I think.
An alliance.
Where Thomas like was like Ellie.
United we stand, together we fall,
As far as I'm concerned, united we're fucked.
said Gordon grandly. Right you are, said Thomas. Good, that's settled, mumbled Gordon. And buffer to buffer, the allies puffed home.
Well. Steve Asquith was production supervisor. Okay, Mattel, you kind of cooked with that logo. Also, Britt Allcroft, R.I.P. Yeah, Britt would be proud. Britt would be very, very, very proud. That was such a lovely present. Honestly, I don't normally praise Mattel for like some of the stuff they do, but I think this was a very, very, very good anniversary present. Shows that there is at least somebody at the company who does care about the brand. It's just that they just don't care about the actual show. But you know, I think this was the best gift I think we could have gotten. This is the best gift, I'd say, aside from The Adventure Begins, that we've ever gotten as an anniversary present. I mean, think of like what other ones we had. Well, there was Golden Jubilee, which was the book, like the 50th anniversary book back in the 90s, and Calling All Engines for the 60th. Ugh. I mean, I don't mind that movie, but I mean, some of the merchandising hit pretty hard, to be fair. And then 2015, obviously, cooked with Adventure Begins, Legend of the Lost Treasure, and even fan content around that time, like NWR Origins. That was a big, big fan project that came out for the 70th anniversary, sorry. And now this, with the pilot and a bit of merchandise with like the Trackmaster Thomas with the Railway Series face. So I think it's fair to say that Mattel like did fans a favor. I think this was you know, I think this was the best kind of present that they could have given, especially considering how finicky they must be with stuff like in the archives, stuff like in the olden days. Like, you honestly become so surprised when they do drop something like this and kind of think to yourself, okay, what is their do they care about this brand, or is it just that they don't find it very like economically marketable? Like, it begs the question, like, does Mattel still care about Thomas? If they are willing to acknowledge its history and, you know, release stuff like this for fans and for fans viewing pleasure, why then have they put so little effort into the show? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I know I've heard some people like saying and defending All Engines Go, saying it's getting better, but I think it really baffles me that, like, maybe it was the impact of Britt Allcroft's death that kind of really pushed them to do this. But I find it really fascinating that 1 minute we're berating Mattel for the Drayton Manor incident. Like, I mentioned this on the channel a few years ago when they talked about how supporting those on the spectrum was not in their best interest or something like this. I'm not taking the words out of context, but that was genuinely like a statement they made. And then they go and release something like this, which is a genuine part of Thomas history and is a respectful, real acknowledgement of the show's history. So I think they acknowledge that the original show's still around. They're not trying to erase it from history and change Thomas's identity. They acknowledge what Thomas was, and they almost just are trying to make something different with it, which it's weird. Mattel, you baffle me. You really, really baffle me. But either way, I'm grateful for this. I'm very grateful that this was released to the public and that this is something that fans of both the older stuff and the newer stuff can enjoy and really appreciate as a part of history. I think this is the best present you could have given us. So, with that being said, yeah, honestly, in terms of like the actual product itself, I can see why they chose to redo it, but then again, there is a novelty. Like I mentioned, it feels very 80s. I can't describe how, but it feels so 80s. And I think, obviously the models, I feel like that we got were a lot more refined. And like Gordon's model, it was very, it had a certain charm to it, but it definitely had like, it was definitely imperfect. I think some of the buffers were its buffers were a bit crooked, and I think just his general design looked a bit squashed. So I can see why they wanted to kind of rebuild his model and do something else with it. But my question is, like, did they use, like, the same chassis or the same, like, wheelbase and, like, or even the same frame and just remodeled it a bit? That's what I'd like to know. Obviously, Ringo Starr's narration's very different here. I think it's an alternative take that he did for it. I don't think he purposely made that for the pilot. I think it was just alternative takes that were made, alongside until they found the one that they liked. But then again, there is new dialogue in there, like the alley thing. So yeah, he could have done the dialogue for the actual original pilot, but I don't know. I don't think Brit had him on board until 1984, so I don't know. And I think at the end of the day, this is such a great part of Thomas history, and I think I can kind of see why they went with Down the Mine. I can see why, because it's a very simple story to make. Aside from, obviously the biggest, it has like 3 locations. You have the station at the start, Knapford, and the mine area. And the mine area, like, the effects you could do for that are pretty simple. So I can see why they chose that instead of something a bit more high-paced or action-packed, like Thomas and Gordon, or the Flying Kipper, for example, with that huge crash. So I can see why I think Down the Mine was a good option for, like, a pilot to kind of see the limits of their model making and what they could do with the show. And 30, 40 years down the line, look at what the show has become. Look at the fan base it's grown. And yeah, so I think it's fair to say that we just witnessed a little bit of history. We witnessed the spark that ignited an inferno of passion, of love, of just this safe space that the fandom and just Thomas and Friends has created for people. It's made so many people feel heard. It's made people laugh. It's made people cry. It's made me cry a lot of times. And so I think getting an insight into this is such a glorious present, especially considering we don't know what the future holds for Thomas, like the brand anyway at the moment, whatever he's become nowadays. But I think this shows that even if we think that Mattel don't care, there is at least someone on board who cares. There is someone who, like, looked into the archives and thought to yourself, do you know what? We're going to give the fans what they want. I'm Liz Lau, and it's so good to be back doing reactions. I can't promise this is like a permanent return. Obviously, I've still got a lot on and a lot to do at the moment, but thank you guys so much for the support on this channel, and I will see you guys next time. And for all those watching on Charlie's channel, for Tanky's React, peace out. Why was I so hesitant? It's an outro, for crying out loud.